Hi everyone, welcome to another Change Your Thoughts Today show. My name is Stephen Aitchison, creator of CYTLive a program to help you change your beliefs to change your life. What I want to talk about is about being confidently quiet. But I want to share something with you, and some of you might relate to this as well. When I was young, a teenager kind of going into adulthood, I was kind of painfully shy. And I mean painfully shy. It wasn't, I don't know what it was that made me kind of that way. I wasn't confident. I was very, very self-conscious of the way I spoke. I thought I was too nasally. I thought I might speak too much or I might speak too little. I just didn't know. I was extremely self-conscious. And the one thing I did have that going for me, and this is not about being big-headed, it's just about, I'll tell you why I kind of knew this as well. So I was always told that I was good-looking when I was at school. And it was by my aunties, by my mum and everybody else. A lot of people would tell me I was kind of good looking. And I started to believe that I was good looking, but it didn't give me any confidence. It didn't give me the ability to speak to people. It didn't give me that great personality that I've seen other people had as well. And I always wanted to try and make people laugh. And it was just, it was painfully awkward. And I learned to be kind of quiet. I just thought, I'm not going to try and force my personality, myself, by my kind of nature. I'm just a quiet person. I like to listen more than I speak. And I've been like that since I was very young, but I thought when I was a teenager going into adulthood, I thought I'm going to have to really kind of put myself out there and push myself. And I tried it. It didn't work. It just didn't work. I wasn't a chatty, talkative person, which is weird because I've got 2 Facebook Live shows, but it's different. It's different when you're in company. So I learned just to be comfortable and kind of being quiet. I still was very self-conscious, thinking, I need to talk, what do I say? And I was thinking about all these things. But then as I kind of got into early 20s and going into my mid-20s, I thought, do you know what, I'm actually really comfortable being quiet. And I was very confident within myself. I started to find myself about 25. That's when I really started to kind of come into my own skin. And I was just this quiet person. If I had something to say, I would say it. I was confident about saying it. And people would say, oh, you're very quiet. And they thought it was mysterious somehow because I was quiet. They thought it was this deep kind of person. So I learned to play on that. So I learned as I was going into adulthood, I learned to actually play on the fact that I was a quiet person. These people thought, particularly the girls and the women, if I'm being honest, they thought I was kind of quiet and this mysterious person. So I learned to play on it, but I was very confidently quiet. And I think it's a good trait to have. I think a lot of us think we should be saying something, or we should be funny, or we should be this way, or we should be that way with our personalities. Where if you're a quiet person just by nature, then you can still have a brilliant social life. If you want, I didn't particularly want, I did go out a lot. I had a big group of friends who kind of did go out a lot, but I learned to be confidently quiet. In my kind of mid-20s. And as I said, if I had something to say, I'd be confident enough to come out and say it as well. So it might be that you're in that situation as well and you're feeling kind of anxious about having to speak in kind of social situations and stuff like that as well. But you can still be perceived as somebody that's quite outgoing, even if you don't say a word all night, which was a weird thing I found as well, because what you do when you're interacting with somebody and you're listening and you're talking with somebody, but mainly kind of listening, if you're animated and you're kind of laughing at them or laughing with them, and you're kind of nodding your head and you're being actively listening, if you're using your active listening skills, people think you've been kind of chatty all night, when you haven't really. It's them that's been talking, but they still see you as being a kind of a very social person, very chatty, very confident. And that's the thing I found really weird when I was younger as well. I've never really heard anybody speaking about this in books or anything like that. So you could still be this very social, almost quietly gregarious person when you've not even said a word all night hardly. And I found that dead weird, but really good at the same time. It was good for somebody like me, because I was actively listening to people, joining in their conversations and kind of putting in some bits to the conversation. And it just served me really well, and it served me really well throughout my whole life as well. Even now when I go into kind of groups or social groups or something, I'll be the kind of quiet one, but the one that's actively listening, and people think I've been talking all night when I really haven't said that much. I've just been listening. but people's perceptions of you are this kind of socially confident person, and that's good. That's good for me. It's just my nature. I'm quiet, and a lot of you might be feeling like that as well. And so that's what I wanted to talk about today, because my wife said that I was confidently quiet as we're driving down to the train station. We're talking about going out, and it was for a couple of nights out we've got coming up. And she said, you're confidently quiet anyway, so it's cool with the social group that we're going out with. And it's true, and I thought, that's a good live. That would be a good topic to speak about on the live. So I thought I'd share that kind of story with you about it's not my childhood, but it's my kind of teenager going into adulthood, and how I really came into my own when I was 25. But being confidently quiet is just such a brilliant thing to be, especially if you're an active listener. And active listening is totally different from listening. Usually when most people listen, they're trying to think of the next thing to say before the other person tries to finish, or before the other person finishes what they're saying. But with an active listener, you're actively listening, you're in the conversation, you're part of the conversation, with kind of nodding your head, you're laughing at the appropriate times as well. Not conscious about it, it's just something you do naturally. And then after they've finished talking, you can kind of give something to the conversation as well. So I practice that all the time, active listening, and it's just something that comes naturally to me as well. And people think you're this gregarious social person, but you're not, so it's brilliant. So I just wondered what you thought about that as well, and what your thoughts were on that. I don't know if that kind of applies to you. I would imagine the type of people we attract over at Change Your Thoughts today, I would imagine you are kind of like that as well, or a lot of you will be like that. So I'm just going to see if there's any comments. Cindy Timmers, everyone thinks I am confident, very social, but I'm a great listener. I'm not so confident at all, could use a lot more. See, that's the thing as well, if everybody thinks you're confident, because usually what I was thinking when I was younger, I was thinking, oh, that person must be thinking this about me, that group must be thinking this about me, they must be thinking I'm a bit of an idiot, I'm far too quiet. And I used to think about what other people were thinking about me, but when you're quietly confident, or when you're confidently quiet, you just don't care what anybody else kind of thinks. You're just quiet. You know you can join in if you want to. You know you've got those active listening skills, which was one of the best skills to develop in your life. As a human being, it's one of the best skills you can actually develop. So it's about getting confidence within yourself as well, Cindy. So I think it's always a good thing to work on your own confidence, and work on being confidently quiet as well, if that's in your nature. But if you want to be kind of outgoing, if you want to be that funny person, you can work on that as well. It just depends on what you want to be. Me, I like listening more than I talk. And as I said, it's weird having 2 Facebook Live shows, but there you go. Jennifer L. Norris, I actually need to. I am learning to not talk as much. So that's kind of the opposite of what we're talking about here. So it's about active listening as well. So you've got a balance between kind of talking and listening as well, so people think you're interested in. Because you come across these people and they're always talking about themselves. And they're always, it's me. There's never any other part in the conversation. It's always about them. So you don't want to be that person either. Because when you come across people like that, for the first time it's okay because they're doing all the talking, it's brilliant. But the next time you meet them, you might try and avoid them, or the time after that, because they're always talking about their problems, what's going on in their life. They never ask you any questions. You kind of try and avoid people like that sometimes. So it might be a good thing to develop the active listening skills as well. Jennifer. Maria Flynn, I did a silent retreat as a teen, and I found that I loved not talking. I give myself this retreat from time to time. That's a brilliant idea. A silent retreat. I've heard of them before, I've read about them, but I've never ever kind of done it myself. That'd be quite a cool thing to try, actually, Maria. That's from Maria Flynn. That is a cool idea. We should get a silent retreat together, organised. Jose Morgado, I'm very much like that as a teen. Missed that there. I'm very much like that too, but then I push myself to be more talkative in these networking events, but afterwards I feel so drained. That's the thing as well. It's about protecting your kind of energy as well, because obviously as empaths, and I think a lot of us are kind of empaths, we take on other people's kind of feelings. We can feel how they're feeling, and we're very sensitive to other people's energy. And if we're kind of pushing ourselves, if we're naturally kind of quiet and kind of blend into the background, it's difficult to, when you push yourself, you will feel drained because you're taking on everybody else's energy, particularly because you're pushing yourself as well. So we've got to protect our energy with the energy bubble technique, for example. I think that'd be a really good one to use in that situation, just to protect your own energy as well. Norma Tyler Chipping, thank you. This is what I needed. I listened first, think, and then put in my own 2 cents worth. And I think that's a good strategy to use. Listen first, think about it, and then talk and join in the conversation. And it's generally what I do as well. That's exactly what I was talking about there as well. So that, I think that's always a good strategy. When some people just kind of open their mouths and start talking. Which is fine, whatever works for them. I'm not putting anybody down that is like that. I'm just saying about being confidently quiet as well. Becky Williams Jennings, I was very quiet when I was younger, but I tend to join in now or start conversations. And that's good as well. That's a really good strategy as well, because when you start a conversation, particularly in a group of strangers, if you're at a networking event or a conference or something like that, they'll see you as a social, kind of outgoing person, when in actual fact you've really only started the conversation for everybody else to join in, but you're still seen as this confident, social, kind of gregarious person as well, which is good. So you can start the conversation, then blend back in the background as well. And starting the conversation as well will lend you more and to be more open to talk to other people as well, or they'll come to you to talk. So I think that's a good strategy as well, Becky. Maria Flynn, love quiet, hard with kids, but I find it. It can be really difficult with kids. Roselle, hi Stephen, thank you for the positive outlook. God bless. Thank you very much, Roselle. Let's see if we've got any more questions here. Nina Blankenberg, I have a lot of confidence now and I am very outgoing. I love people and love to connect with them and helping them too. Excellent. That's brilliant. And as I said, I'm not putting anybody down that is really confident and very gregarious and stuff like that. It's particularly talking about kind of empaths. I find a lot of empaths are kind of quietly or confidently quiet as well. And I just wondered, I thought that'd be a good topic to actually talk about. Now we'll go back to the comments again because we're sticking again. DNA, good day Stephen. You suit grey as a colour on you. Thank you very much. Forgot I was wearing this. I usually try and wear a shirt, but I was just nipping out to the train station trying to get back in time to do this live. Jose is saying, oh Josie, sorry. Josie is saying, I will do that, protect my energy bubble. I love that. Just type in kind of bubble technique into this Facebook page. I think we did a live on it. I think it was last month or the month before. And I think it's a really good technique to use to protect your own energy. What else have we got here? Tiffany Richard is saying, yes, I have come to enjoy silence so much. People who overtalk drain me. I've noticed how much a lot of talking is not needed. It isn't needed, and people usually talk for the sake of talking, or for kind of not for hearing their own voice, but because they think they need to fill the silence when there's no need. Really think about if you're with kind of a loved one, and you could sit for hours and kind of not talk. It's either you could read a book or you're engaged in something else, but you're very comfortable in that silence as well. Like when we go for drives, me and Sharon, obviously we'll be lost in our own thoughts along the way as well, and we're extremely comfortable in our silence. And you'll find that with a lot of marriages as well, they're very comfortable in the silence as well. And that's true of good friends as well, but a lot of people feel the need to fill the silence. And it's a technique that counsellors use as well. So when somebody's talking, if the counsellor is asking a question, for example, and then there's silence after it, the counsellor knows enough and is confident enough to stay in that silence and not feel the need to fill the silence with talking. So they stay confident and they're fine with the silence, as the other person that usually starts talking again, the person who's getting counselled, will start talking again and open up more, and that's a good technique to use as well, particularly in counselling, or if you're doing any kind of kind of work, CBT work or anything like that. And I found it an extremely effective technique. When I used it when I was doing kind of addiction counselling as well, when I was helping people with alcohol and drug issues as well. Getting them to open up can be difficult sometimes, but if you use silence as a technique, I can draw them out quite a lot. It's actually quite a good technique to use as a counsellor. Just see if there's any more comments here. Christine Barter Franklin, morning from New York. My husband and I are quiet together. It's nice, especially in the morning. It can be really nice, and it's not just about being quiet. I think it's being comfortable in each other's energy. So it's not about the quietness. It's about the enjoying each other's energy without having to talk. And I think that's what I find most beautiful when we're in that kind of situation. But a lot of the time we're talking as well. We're always talking about our sons. We're talking about our kind of future. Talking about something happening at work. Talking about Facebook Live, so what we were talking about on Facebook Live today, for example. But when we're in that quiet zone, is being in each other's energy without having to fill that energy with words, or the energy of words, because there's a different type of energy when you fill that energy with words. Sean Barrett, welcome Sean. Solitude is a gift. It is. And I love that. Solitude is a gift. And it's actually a beautiful thing it's a beautiful way you put that, Sean. A really good way to put that, solitude as a gift. And I was talking the other day as well about kind of solitude, and there's nothing more at Christmas, for example. Oh, I'm just going to turn this off. Bear with me. At Christmas, for example, I always ask for kind of Waterstones vouchers to go to the bookshop. And so I get all these kind of Waterstones vouchers for books, maybe £150 or something, because I ask everybody for them. If ever they say, what do you want for Christmas? I say, Waterstones vouchers, Waterstones vouchers. So I can spend the full day, I can get all these kind of gift vouchers and go out and spend a full day in Waterstones. So I'll go early in the morning and come away kind of late in the afternoon, and I've spent a full day, and it's just me, my own thoughts, and I'm kind of looking at books, and I'm sitting down to have a coffee and a sandwich or something, reading the books, then going away again looking at the books. But essentially it's me in my own little kind of world, and it's that solitude that's a gift. So they're not buying me book vouchers, they're buying me a moment of solitude. That's really what it's about. So yeah, I love that. So I'll just see if we've got any more comments just now. Shonda Kingerman, thank you for this live, Steve. What you're saying, I have been this way my whole life. Just recently realised that it's okay to be quiet in this fast-paced world. Absolutely, it is. And once you realise that, and once you become confident within yourself, it doesn't really matter. So it's quite cool. Right, we're sticking again. I don't know if I'm still getting error messages up. I don't know what's going on with Facebook Live. But I hope that was okay for today. It came to me when I was speaking with my wife Sharon, kind of going down the train station. So I thought that's what we'll talk about today. So with that, I'm going to leave you just now. I hope you have a brilliant Friday, whatever you're doing, a brilliant weekend, whatever you're up to. And I will speak to you again on Monday, just normal time. We'll be back to normal time on Monday because the clocks go back in the US, I believe, on Sunday morning. So we'll be back to normal time, whoever's watching from the US. So everything will be back to normal. So that's it for now. Remember, you can join our Fringe Dwellers group if you want to click on the link above this video or on the comments, and I'll kind of try and get to your messages after this live as well and get back to as many as possible. But hope you have a brilliant weekend, everybody. Take care. Namaste. Bye now.